Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla, here to talk to you today about mob armor mounts. You should be looking into a mob armor mount if you have a cell phone and you want to put it on your motorcycle or something that's not your motorcycle. These things are going to fit on just about every single bike out there. I'm going to show you why. The mounting system's pretty innovative, but you're going to be able to put this all over a bunch of stuff, not even just bikes. You're going to be able to put it in your car, your toolbox, a whole bunch of other things. You can put your cell phone wherever you feel like at this point. Installation on these is a 1 bearder on our beard scale of difficulty. If you can put gas in your tank, you should be able to get a mob armor mount set up on your bike and be using your cell phone while you're actually on a motorcycle. Let's kick things off with a little bit of company history on mob armor. So these guys are actually coming from the off-road world, but not quite the same off-road world we are. These guys are into UTVs, off-road trucks, stuff like that. They were riding around, they were trying to keep their cell phones stable while they were zipping around off-road. As such, they developed a sort of bomb-proof way of mounting a cell phone to a vehicle that also happens to adapt really well to motorcycles as well as to some more stationary objects as well. So the heart of their system here is going to be the Mount Cradle. And this thing is meant to hold your cell phone. It's made of 50-52 aluminum. They come in a couple different colors, powder coated there. You're going to notice too here, the cushioning on here, this is all neoprene cushioning. Does a good job of really cradling your phone, just as the name would imply. Now the big winner here is look how this thing mounts. You've got 2 lower mounts off to the corners and 1 on top. Notice there's nothing on the sides here. For those of you guys who have used other mounts and your volume button constantly gets hit or your power button, you don't have to worry about this. This is a kind of an innovative design. I expect a lot of people are really going to appreciate how this is done. These things are toolless. You can pop your phone in and out. There's a little knob on the back here. I'll show you in just a second. That does lead us into how this thing actually mounts up. So we've talked about the cradle, let's talk about the mounting. Their most obvious mount solution here for a motorcycle is actually this bar mount. I'm just going to flip this over so you can see it. Totally toolless, you can just tighten this puppy up and snug it on down, and this thing will stay in whatever position you leave it in. I'm going to pop this back open and we'll reinstall this correctly. So the other mounting options on here are equally as innovative. We move down the line here. You're not just stuck to mounting to bars. Instead, you can mount these things kind of anywhere. So let's talk about a couple of the items they have. And the first, and probably the most important, is the Mobnetic. So the Mobnetic actually comes in 2 different flavors, the Mobnetic and the Mobnetic Pro. The Mobnetic is a single magnet mount. So the base of this thing will mount anywhere you put the sticky mount. So really any smooth, hard surface will accept the Mobnetic mount. The Mobnetic Pro, of course, has 2 different magnetic ends. What that means is instead of having a mount fixed somewhere permanently, instead of popping this maybe say onto your windshield and it lives there forever, you instead will install one of these mounting plates. And you'll get a couple of these and you can order more of them. You can put these wherever you like and move the entire system hither and yon. But the genius here, again, is the magnetic mount. So you've got full 360 degrees of swivel, so you can turn it all the way around, and you've also got 70 degrees of tilt. If you look at this puppy here, you'll notice there's a full 70-degree swing there. What that means is you've got really some ease of mounting. You're going to be able to put this thing somewhere, and in almost any scenario, you should be able to get your phone in a way where you can see it easily and it's convenient to use. Now we're not limited, of course, just to this magnetic setup here. If you don't want to pair up your phone, say, with one of these cradles, let's say you just want to use this somewhere where it's not really a big concern the thing's going to fall down. Maybe say you're throwing one of these on your toolbox. They also have these plates that will mount to either the back of your phone or your cell phone case. These are just a very light metal, very thin. These puppies will pop right on here. Notice these can play a little bit of hell with inductive charging. So if you do have an inductive charger on your phone, keep in mind introducing a magnet into the equation might not be the best idea. So moving on, you can see here we have a suction cup mount. Obviously this plate is steel. This is their Gecko mount. That steel provides an excellent place, again, to install a Mobnetic Pro or a Mobnetic. Again, going to be a little bit more removable, works well on other smooth surfaces that might not happen to be magnetic. So if you're mounting to something that's not metal, the Gecko may be the way to fly. Before we finish this out too, you can see over here, I've got one of their mounts hooked up to a Mobnetic mount. This thing has a tether. If you wind up ordering your cradle and you do order the Mobnetic version of the cradle, a tether will come along with this. If you should order one that does not have a magnet and later decide to go back and upgrade it, they highly recommend you have a tether, and I kind of have to agree with them. If you're on your bike and you have nothing but a magnet holding your phone in place, you do want some sort of ancillary backup system to prevent your phone from flying off if you do happen to lose contact if the magnet breaks its hold. So rounding things out, the final thing that they do here that I think is super duper cool is you can also get what they call their marball mount. So those of you guys who are familiar with ram mounts, you know that those things are all based around that ball style mount. Well, Mobnetic knows that they make an awesome cell phone cradle. They know a lot of people want to get on that. So what they do is they actually offer a way to integrate that cradle with a RAM style mount called that Marball again. This is really great for those of you who already have an existing setup on your bike. But again, for those of you who do have that problem with the volume button or your phone getting turned off, it's a non-issue. When you integrate this mount with your existing RAM mount system, it's a fantastic setup. Now, installation here, as I had mentioned, super duper simple. One beer. If you can put gas in your bike, you should be able to get a Mob Armor setup onto your motorcycle or onto your toolbox, car, whatever else you happen to want to set this thing up with. It's just not that difficult. Almost no tools are required for any portion of this installation. Again, a little bit of creativity on your part, and I think you guys should be just about set. Now, I don't use a cell phone on my motorcycle. However, if I did, I would not hesitate to use one of the Mob Armor products. I really like the idea of magnetic mounting. It's kind of innovative. It's a very secure hold, but it's not necessarily permanent. I think that's a nifty design. It's something new that we've seen here. Don't take my word for it though. Click that info button. See what some other riders who are rocking Mob Armor setups on their motorcycles or off their motorcycles have to say about them. If you need a little bit more advice, some more personal attention, don't be afraid to get in touch with one of our gear geeks. They're super friendly folks. You can get one by phone, 877-792-9455, or of course you can always drop us an email. See us, RevZilla.com. I'm Lemmy. I'm out of here.